left-wing presidential candidate Jara and far-right Jose Antonio Kast head to Chile's runoff elections after more than 40% of votes counted. The first preliminary results showed that rejection prevails in all 4 questions of Ecuador's popular consultation and referendum. And Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro participated in the prayer meeting for peace in the face of threats of aggressions in the Caribbean that undermines the sovereignty of peace of the people. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We'll be with the news. Stay with us. Left-wing presidential candidate Jara slightly leads the polls in Chile's general elections, followed by far-right Jose Antonio Kast. With more than 40% of the votes counted, Jara leads with 26.4%, while Kast has 24.4%. The preliminary results show that both candidates will face off in the presidential runoffs to be held on December 14. In the third place is Franco Parisi with 18.4%, who ran his campaign from abroad because he was subject to a restrictive order for failing to pay the child support for his 2 children. In addition, Chileans will also renew all seats in the Chamber of Deputies and 23 of the 50 senators, with results pointing to an advantage for the ruling Unity for Chile coalition. Let's take a look at the trajectory of the presidential candidate for the governing Unity for Chile coalition, Jara, who is the flag bearer for the 8 left-wing Social Democratic and Progressive parties, as well as Christian Democrats. Jara was born in 1974 in Santiago de Chile. She was Undersecretary of Social Security during Michelle Bachelet's second term, overseeing key reforms in pension and Social Security. In March 2022, with the arrival of the President Gabriel Boric to power, she was appointed Minister of Labor and Social Security. Among her most notable contributions is the implementation of the 40-hour work week law approved in 2023. Her political career has been strongly linked to the defense of social and labor rights. For his part, Jose Antonio Kast is the candidate for the Republican Party. A 59-year-old lawyer, Kast also represented Chile's conservative right at presidential polls in 2017 and 2021. He has been the representative of 2 districts in the metropolitan region, number 24 from 2014 to 2018 and number 30 for the 3 consecutive terms. Among his political proposals are greater support for the police, a prison reform that seeks to tighten state control in prisons, and a commitment to the northern region to reinforce security along its border. In Ecuador, the first preliminary results released by the National Electoral Council showed that rejection prevails in all 4 questions of the popular consultations and referendum. With nearly 5% of the votes counted at 6:40 p.m. local time, the largest gap is in the referendum on drafting a new constitution, where the no vote leads with 60.8%. On the elimination of the ban on foreign military bases, the no vote stands at 59.1%. Meanwhile, on the reduction of the number of legislators in the National Assembly and the public financing of political parties, the no vote has a majority of 56.7% and 52.8% respectively. The public scrutiny is being carried out with the presence of representatives of social and political organizations, as well as national and international observers.
Although voting has concluded, the transmission of results will begin at approximately 7 p.m. This is because the polling stations must classify, count, and generate the records so that they can subsequently be processed and published. The National Electoral Council is making the website, the CNE app, and the digital repository available as official media for following the results of the 2025 referendum and popular consultation minute by minute. It is important to emphasize to the public that it is necessary to update the CNE app on mobile devices. In this regard, we reiterate our call to political and social organizations, observation missions, the media, and the general public to stay informed through the institutional media of the CNE, the only institution responsible for announcing the results.
Ecuador civil security and political organizations reject the popular consultation in the country, claiming it weakens the nation's sovereignty and democratic process. Among its proposals, the consultation calls for the drafting of a new constitution which, according to experts, seeks to impose the neoliberal and right-wing policies represented by the government of Daniel Noboa. It will also allow the return of foreign bases to the country despite the will of the people who have rejected this initiative. The Ecuadorian opposition is promoting a campaign against the consultation with the aim of asserting the sovereignty of a country hit by social crisis and high crime rates. The Honduran people began a large mobilization in the department of Olancho in support of the presidential candidate Rejection Moncada. Headed of the November 30 presidential elections, the people ratified their support for Moncada, who is bringing a message of hope for the country. The candidate for Libre Party promised to continue the work started by President Xiomara Castro, reaffirming her struggle for the construction of democratic socialism.
We say to the oligarchy, to the 25 power groups, and to the 10 families who want to impose their will, tell them from here in Olancho, they will not return, they will not return.
The government of Honduras welcomed the reduction of U.S. tariff on agricultural products. The measure reduces export taxes on products such as coffee, meat, cocoa, tomatoes, and bananas, and also eliminates the application of reciprocal tariff that range from 10 to 50%. In this regard, the Honduran Foreign Ministry emphasized that Washington's decision represents a new employment opportunity for Honduran's producers. Although the products are not entirely tax exempt, but these adjustments establishes lower import rates and eases cost pressure in some commercial sectors. Let's take a very short break, but remember you can join us on our TikTok account as teleSUR English, where you'll be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and more. Stay tuned because we'll be right back. Welcome back to From the South. The Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro participated in a prayer meeting for peace in the face of threats of aggressions in the Caribbean that undermine the sovereignty and peace of the people. President Maduro called on the community to unite in prayers for the peace of the continent. He also emphasized the importance of coercive and actions in time of prayers and reflection, where communities around the world raises their voices for peace in the nation. He also thanked all the religious leaders who participated in a prayer meeting for peace in Venezuela for asking God for the peace of the country and the well-being of all Venezuelans. It is worth noting that prayers and reflections were aimed at strengthening national unity and sending a message of unity in the face of interference by the United States empire.
Estamos en su era, la era de Jesucristo, la era cristiana.
We are in this age, the age of Jesus Christ, the Christian age. And we send our message from Venezuela to all Christians in the United States and in our America, that we should be the defenders, the ones who carry the banner of peace and harmony, forgiveness, and the great mercy of the Lord.
The Venezuelan president called all American Christians to join in their prayers for peace.
Also to unite the power of the prayers of our Christian brothers and sisters in the United States of America. I send a very special message to our brothers and sisters of the Christian churches in the United States of America. Let the sound of the bells of peace be heard, and not of the drums of war, not the drums of hatred and death.
My brother, my sister.
My brothers, my sisters, here we are in Venezuela. My brothers and sisters in Christ, Venezuela wants peace. Peace, peace. To every church in the United States of America, we send you from Venezuela a single message. Let's unite in Christ, so that peace reigns, as well as understanding and harmony, not hatred, not war. Let the bells of joy ring, so that peace comes to all America.
Over 50,000 people attend the old-school reggaeton concert at the Monumental Stadium in Caracas, Venezuela. During the event, 8 of the most iconic figures who defined the golden era of reggaeton performed, including Ivy Queen, Tito el Bambino, and Alexis Fito. The musical group Doble Impacto opened the concert with various songs recognized by the audience. The authorities in charge of prevention and citizen security implemented strategies to ensure the safety and tranquility of attendees during the concert of these iconic personalities. Cuba received 30 tons of food from China to assist victims of Hurricane Melissa in the eastern region of the island. The supplies will be distributed in the areas most affected by the natural disaster, which, although it did not cause any fatalities, left hundreds of houses completely destroyed in its wake. During the reception, China stated that the government and people of China expressed their deep solidarity with the victims. In addition to the 6 flights carrying food, Cuba will receive 3 maritime shipments with essential basic supplies, which will arrive at the port of Santiago de Cuba. And in Cuba, recovery after the passage of Hurricane Melissa throughout the eastern provinces advances thanks to joint efforts of lineman brigades from several provinces in the solidarity and support of Venezuela. Our correspondent Isabel Diaz with the details.
They are the face of the solidarity that bonds Cuba and Venezuela. Having become a true hurricane of love, they are supporting the recovery efforts following the meteorological event that struck the east of the largest island in the Antilles more than 2 weeks ago.
When we arrived here, the disasters were much worse than anything we had already seen. We were asked to attend to some circuits in the municipality of Santiago and this 33 kilowatts line, which supplies the municipality of Guamá, specifically Chivirico, which is its municipality capital. With a fairly considerable population scattered along the entire route from Santiago to Chivirico, approximately 60 or 30 kilometers, there are several settlements, all of which receive power through this line and are currently affected. We arrived here several days ago and have been working on the power line ever since. First we arrived and did a reconnaissance. Then we started working with what little we had because at first there was nothing except what we could find. And we started to repair it. The welcome was very good. We feel comfortable here. They have treated us wonderful and we can't complain about anything. And well, we decided to come and we are going to work and help the people, the Cuban people here.
Profesionales del sector eléctrico que bajo
Electricity sector professionals who, under the relentless sun, perform daily feats to restore service as quickly as possible to the more than 34,000 residents of the Guamán municipality in Santiago de Cuba.
Estamos trabajando en conjunto y estamos aprendiendo como sea.
We are working together and learning as much as we can, sharing knowledge from them to us and from us to them. We are getting used to their working methods because they have a different system to us. But we are getting there. We are doing well.
Nosotros por acá, de mucho agradecimiento de todos los trabajadores de la línea de...
We would like to express our deep gratitude to all the power line workers in our province, from other provinces and neighboring countries, for their gesture of solidarity with all those affected here in our municipality. Despite the fact that we have not yet restored electricity service, they are working hard with great dedication and sacrifice from all these people.
Today, under the watchful eye of national and local authorities, Santiago de Cuba is moving forward with the rehabilitation of its electrical networks as a top priority, joining forces in difficult times.
12 Venezuelan brothers joined us in the repair work of the 5335 subtransmission circuit. Together with us, well, we are rehabilitating that line, putting up the poles, climbing the conductors, which are heavy conductors, and little by little we are rehabilitating everything as quickly as possible.
Thus, Cuba and Venezuela write together a page of resilience and brotherhood, demonstrating the strength of the bonds that unite both peoples. With camera by Jose Hierro,
Isabel Díaz González, TeleSUR, Santiago de Cuba.
Let's take a last break, but before we invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English. There you'll be able to watch our top stories, special live coverage, and much more. Follow our page and activate the notification button to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break, don't go away. Welcome back. On its final day, the People's Summit, which took place in parallel with the first week of UN Climate Conference COP30, concluded with the delivery of its final declaration. Over 1,100 organizations from around the world participated in this global gathering, which brought together thousands of activists from all countries in the city of Belém do Pará. The event aims to pressure global leaders and negotiators present in Brazil to adopt effective actions in the face of the climate emergency, which participants argue is largely the responsibility of a major transnational corporation.
Basta de negociaciones de nuestra madre tierra, que es la Pachamama.
Stop negotiating about our Mother Earth, Pachamama. Stop negotiating about Grandmother Sea. We want respect for indigenous peoples. We are not silent guests, we are the owners of our territories, which continue to be stripped away from us. We have come here to say that we do not want the climate to change, we want the system to change, because what is destroying our world is this neoliberal system, which only looks at how to enrich itself as a business. For us, for the indigenous peoples, for the peasants, our Pachamama is not a business. On the contrary, they should not fear us, we do nothing against rights, rather we are the hope of the future.
No hacemos nada en contra de los derechos, más bien somos la esperanza de...
Moving on, the United Nations Relief and Workers Agency for Palestine Refugees has denounced Israel for limiting the entry of humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip, which is exacerbating the humanitarian crisis. The UN agency warns that the restrictions imposed by Israel are intensifying to the crisis due to the lack of food and medicine. It also warns that most of the population consumes contaminated water, causing outbreaks of hepatitis, meningitis, intestinal and respiratory diseases, as well as increasing kidney failure and cancer. In this regard, the organization condemned the obstacles placed by Israeli forces to providing assistance to Palestinians, emphasizing that the humanitarian aid received is not sufficient to alleviate the crisis in the territory. Precisely in this context, the World Health Organization's report that over 900 Palestinian patients have died in the Gaza Strip while waiting to be medically evacuated due to the Israeli restrictions. According to the organization, the patients were waiting to receive medical care outside Gaza but could not be treated. It is also stated that around 16,000 patients are still waiting for approval for evacuation, including 4,000 children who urgently need medical transfer to save their lives. Likewise, it warns that hospitals are operating at less than half their capacity due to shortages of fuel, medicines, and essential supplies. In France, 2 major television networks went off the air due to a bomb threat that leads to evacuations and police deployment. An individual called a police station claiming that he had placed an explosive device in the building of the media company where the television networks BFM TV and RMC are based and threatens to blow up the place. Thousands of people marched in the capital of North Macedonia to demand justice for the 63 victims who died in a nightclub fire last March. These demonstrations took place prior to the trial of 34 individuals and 3 companies accused of the incidents classified as the deadliest fire in the country's history. The disaster took place on March 16 at a Pulse Club in the eastern city of Kushani, where a concert ended in the death of 63 people and left at least 200 injured. The prosecutor's office filed charges against the 34 defendants, including the owner of the establishment, security guards, representative of the security company, and the company that owns the club. And we have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials. We are on Facebook, X, and on Instagram as well. And before closing up, we'll leave you with some special images that speaks to the unity of the Venezuelan and Latin American people. For Telesur English and from the South, I'm Ana Marrero. Thank you for watching.